This is KUGAN CASSIUS for Eiffel TV in association with Matchmanship Marbella. I won the train from Manchester to Euston.
Blagged it.
How did we blag it?
Well, we had tickets for the 3:15 that were non-changeable, and I had to take them up to the desk and say, oh, "I'm so sorry. This is really embarrassing, but I told everyone we were on the 3:55, and I've just checked my tickets. We're on the 3:15. I know it's £232 each to change them, but this is a genuine, honest mistake from a long-term Virgin customer." And she changed them. So thank you, Virgin.
What are you going to do if Virgin happen to watch this video later on and hear you say that you blagged it?
Well, it was partly true. So, and at the end of the day, I feel like, I don't know what the annual spend is for a Matchroom on Virgin trains, but it's significant. So I don't feel like just a little porky pie should be frowned upon. I'm giving them great exposure. We had a fantastic journey up on Virgin trains. And actually this morning, I must add that we were offered a Cumberland sausage sandwich with French stick. Now, most people will say that's a good service, but it had caramelised onions in, and that's unusual. And I was impressed. I actually went for the vegetable soup, which was a poor decision, but my colleague Adam Smith and yourself both had the sausage sandwich with caramelised onion, and we actually woke you up to give you that sausage sandwich. Correct. And it was demolished in 4.2 seconds flat.
Did you make similarities between you and Richard Branson?
No, I was going to make similarities between you and a Cumberland sausage sandwich.
Okay, we've just been to a Scotland Quigg media lunch.
We did.
Carl Frampton's got his one tomorrow.
Yep. He won't be eating very much because he's very tight at the weight. Apparently, it's just as rumours go. Scott Quigg had Dover sole with spinach, potatoes, and grilled asparagus, and is in fine fettle.
Okay, fair enough. Right, let's talk about the first news in hand, which you announced yesterday, that Anthony Joshua will take on IBF heavyweight champion Charles Martin.
Yes.
Widely rumoured this week. It was actually tweeted out by quite a few people. David Hay, Shane McGuigan. Yeah. But I spoke to you sort of around that time, and you did say to me that at that point there was no deal in place.
No, the deal was done on Saturday. Charles Martin was never really a target of ours. I'll let you into a little secret. We had a deal signed and agreed with Glasgow prior to the Charles Martin fight that if he beat Martin, he would face Anthony Joshua next. Signed. So when we were watching that fight, it was one of them moments when he went down with a knee injury. And, obviously Martin's with Heyman, and I just felt that probably Deontay Wilder would fight Charles Martin. And when he called out Anthony Joshua about a week ago, I didn't think there was much in it. I thought it was just another fighter using Joshua's name, as we've seen so many do. Got in touch with Leon Margulis, his promoter, and his managers, and they were game for the fight. And we talked over a period of time, mentioned it to Anthony. Actually, he saw Charles Martin call him out on social media, and he sort of said to me, "Can you get that fight? Get me that fight." And then it was just a case of speaking to the trainers and the team. And a lot has been said about, is it too early for Anthony Joshua to fight for the world title? Because when he gets there, there's no backward step. But when he gets there, we're only going to be fighting the same people that were in the mix for April 9th. So I said to them, look, it's all about the fight. Can you beat Charles Martin? If you can, if you believe you can, you have to take this fight because there's a chance to become heavyweight champion of the world. And those kind of opportunities don't grow on trees. And Anthony is a go-getter. He's someone that likes to take chances, take opportunities when they're there. And yes, this is a gamble, and it's 3 or 4 fights earlier than we anticipated. But he's got to beat Charles Martin, and he becomes the heavyweight champion of the world. Talking about Anthony Joshua, already one of the hottest commodities in world boxing. You win that heavyweight world championship, he will become one of the hottest commodities in world sport. And April 9th is going to be very special.
Can you confirm to us who you actually offered the Joshua fight to prior to the Martin fight being?
Derek Chisora, Bryant Jennings, Hughie Fury, Malik Scott, Stavern, but they had no real official offers. Discussions with Tony Thompson. Tarver was offered, but it's not really, obviously had his complications. A little bit with Hellenius when he was European champ. A little bit with Pulev. So, you know, all these guys are first defence options for us. So that's what I said to the team. Don't worry about that. We'll, you know, win the world title in April. End of June will be our first defence. We have a voluntary. Another voluntary before the end of November. That's when the mandatory cut-off will be. Then if we want a unification after that, so be it. But just concentrate on the fight, Charles Martin. If we can beat Charles Martin, you've got to take this fight.
Eddie, when I spoke to Anthony Joshua around 3 weeks ago and talking to him about Charles Martin, he did say one of the issues about the Charles Martin fight was that he felt that he was still in the learning, the progressing phase of his career. He takes the fight with Charles Martin, touch wood, if he beats Charles Martin, that progression stays sort of slows down or doesn't go anymore.
Exactly. I've just covered that. You know, where we are now, we will be fighting the same people as we would do if we were world champion.
I think it's going to be
involuntary defences. Bryant Jennings, DeVerne, Maddox Scott, Chisora, Huey Fury, you know, these are the guys we'd pick for defences. So that was never the problem. It was just, can we beat Charles Martin? Charles Martin is 6'5", awkward southpaw who can punch. He's not a guy that you'd look at and you'd say, he'll do. So, but when a world title's on the line, yes, he is. We cannot afford to not take this opportunity. On April the 9th, Anthony Joshua just has to beat Charles Martin to become world champion. That's all he's got to do.
Would Charles Martin have ever been a considered opponent April the 9th without the world title belt?
Not really. Because he's a 6'5" awkward southpaw who can punch.
Yeah, either before or after that. Definitely.
Good afternoon, service official driving into Stockport. If you are departing, please retain your tickets.
Where other interview would you get there?
Stoke-on-Trent at 16:39 and the Euston 18:07. When departing at Stoke-on-Trent, also please retain your tickets for the ticket gates. Stockport is the next.
When I get home, I said I'd be home at 6:30 for dinner. Sorry, Gary.
So, okay, so he wouldn't have been opponent you would have obviously.
Not really. It's a tough fight. You know, people say,
But would you've got a lot of stick for that? Just imagine you had obviously he's fighting for a world title. It's different circumstances.
You know, a world-ranked 6'5" southpaw heavyweight, 23 wins from undefeated with 21 knockouts. Come on, I mean it's a tough fight. Everyone, I've just seen the bookies always Joshua's favourite to beat everyone. Seen his odds to beat Hay. Doesn't mean they're right or wrong, but Joshua opens up at like a 7-1 on favourite to beat Charles Martin. I see this as probably a 60-40 Joshua favourite, in my opinion. So, but everything's irrelevant, you know. It's one fight to become heavyweight champion of the world. Heavyweight champion of the world. You know how big Joshua is now. Imagine how big he will be as world champion.
We know Charles Martin is with Al Heyman. We know that it would not have been cheap to have got Charles Martin to come over here, regardless of the tweets beforehand and etc. Can you give us any information on the split between the two?
Not really. I mean, both fighters will do very well. As always, in a deal in this sort of situation, everyone's happy. Otherwise, the deal wouldn't have taken place. They fancy the fight. They're not just here for the money. They're here because they've probably seen chinks in Anthony Joshua in his last fight, and they think that it's a huge money fight, huge opportunity, and obviously it's going to make big noise around the world. It's risk element, but you know, as people talk about Sky Sports box office, without Sky Sports box office, opportunities like this could never ever present themselves to British fighters.
Do they both own the show?
There's some kind of element of splitting revenues, yes.
Okay. Let's answer that question. So, as regards to Joshua's team,
I need coffee.
I love a coffee, darling. Thank you. Cheers. A little bit of milk, be lovely. Oh, thank you. Cheers, lovely.
Coffee?
as regards to Joshua's team, Tony Sims, etc. What were the discussions with them regarding this?
You know, it was a big decision. You know, and Joshua was the one pushing the issue as well. But he listens to his training team, and it a collective decision, and we talked. You know, the main thing about it was, Eddie, tell us where we go from here. And the answer is, you have a voluntary in the summer, you have another voluntary in November, and then we have a unification or a mandatory. But trust me, when we win the World Heavyweight Championship, do whatever we want.
Yeah.
Just tell me, can you beat Charles Martin? And the answer was, yes, I believe we can. No brainer then, take the fight. Okay. That was a bit of a quicker version of what happened over the last 10 days.
Okay. Well, I spoke to Adam Smith earlier on.
Don't believe anything he says.
He.
So he's just sitting there.
He's just sitting there.
As far as I'm concerned, he's God. And
Adam said that this was a gamble and a risk.
Yeah.
For his career.
Yeah, but he didn't mind telling me all week we have to take this fight. But it is. And I like it. You know, I think again, Joshua should be applauded. It's not a case of people say, "Oh, Eddie Hearn's throwing him in." Listen, the buck stops with Anthony Joshua. He is the man that makes the ultimate decisions. He listens to me, he listens to his training team, he listens to his family. We'll be at Stoke-on-Trent at 4:37, and everybody needs to know about it.
Good afternoon once again for those joining us at Stockport. It's the 1603 Virgin train to London Euston. Next up now is Stoke-on-Trent, which you travel at 16:39 and into London then at 18:07. First class today is at the front with standard accommodation at the rear. Just the one quiet coach, Coach A. Right, Coach A, just be aware the mobile phones not permitted. The shop will be open shortly. Staff have just joined us at Stockport due to late running off previous work, so just listen out for announcements to when the shop itself will be open. Thank you.
So when Anthony Joshua becomes heavyweight champion of the world, I will take all the credit that I was the one that pushed him into this fight. But on a serious note, Josh takes, as he does, very intelligent young man, takes in all the advice, all the information, and then you make the decision. The risk versus reward ratio is what comes through victory in this fight. I can't even explain. It's like, and listen, even in this fight, he's going to do unbelievably well. So it's not often I agree with Frampton, but he sent a tweet out last night about the Charles Martin fight, and he was bang on. I can't remember now. Something like, look, unbelievable opportunity, big payday, plus the doors that it open. I mean, you know, you have to take this fight. You know, if you're a believer, if you've got ambition, if you've got dreams, you have to take this fight.
I heard you say earlier on that the deal was done relatively quickly, within a week or so, but
about
negotiations compared to other fights, was it straightforward?
Listen, all my negotiations with, you know, if it's Al Heyman's team, there's a young man called Lewis de Cubas who I do the bulk of my business with out there. We have a great relationship, no messing. You know, he opened up the doors to the QUIGG-FRAMPTON fight. He was the one I was dealing with mainly for Brooke Khan, and we were close. And this deal was no exception. I think we have a relationship where we're both fairly young, we're both ambitious, we want to get fights made. And I think sometimes when there's discussions, Al turns it over to Lewis and said, look, you know how to deal with Eddie, and you two get on, go and get it done, you two. And most of the time we do. Done a lot of fights with Burns Figueroa, McDonnell against Kameda twice, Cleverly against Fonfara, you know. So it's they're all relatively smooth. The size, this is a big deal to the World Heavyweight Championship. And in terms of the size of the event, the deal was done very quickly and smoothly.
I know you're working on the undercard for April the 9th. Anything confirmed for April the 9th? Yet,
we'll confirm probably all of the fights, hopefully at the press conference on Friday. Of course, the previous opponent, there wasn't the outlay and cost there that there would be for a Charles Martin fight. That'll affect the undercard slightly. Won't quite be as deep, but there'll be 4 or 5 big fights on the undercard. And Joshua gets it. You know, Joshua wants to entertain the fans. You know, I have a chat with him about the undercard, and he has a big input into the fights that go on. Ultimately, he owns the show, so you know, whatever he wants on the card goes. So all those fighters out there that want to be on, you better call Anthony Joshua.
Obviously, Tyson Fury sent a cryptic tweet a couple of days ago saying about, you know, some news coming. He was going to London, etc., etc. It sort of led into speculation that he could be the opponent for Joshua being announced. But can you shed any light? Do you know anything about Tyson Fury's tweet?
No. I mean, I don't know. I think someone said he was doing it to try and take the shine off Joshua's announcement. I don't know, not really. Yeah, I don't know what's happening with him and Klitschko. You know, I know there's been a couple of conversations with them and Sky. I don't think there's anything solid at the moment. So, you know, we just focus on Anthony Joshua. You know, we know what Joshua delivered from the Dillian Whyte fight. You know, and we know what he'll deliver for a world heavyweight title fight, and he is the biggest draw in British boxing right now.
If he is successful on the 9th, would you say that there's a strong possibility he will face like a UK fighter this year?
Maybe. Like I said, you know, I had a meeting with Peter Fury, lovely man. We had a great conversation. Offered him the Joshua fight for Huey, but he's got a fight planned for March, I believe, against a world ranked contender, he said at the time. And we said we'd look at it again in the summer. You know, I think, you know, domestic fights are always going to sell, and Brits like to see, you know, an all British heavyweight title clash. You know, is always a big fight. I mean, remember Hay Harrison? That was one for the ages. You know, that was a joke, by the way.
That's when someone calls you a shit promoter.
Yeah. But seriously, you know, and that could come with a Chisora fight. I think Chisora's going to fight Pulev. Dillian Whyte rematch. David Price if he has a couple of wins. Huey Fury, Tyson Fury, David Hay. I'd like to keep, you know, God willing, we win the world heavyweight title, all the defences, you know, to big domestic fights. So, you know, I think it's a great time for British heavyweights.
So, just getting our tickets. Check there.
Tickets checked. Tickets checked.
Obviously, your next show now will be
The Small Matter.
The Small Matter
Of Scott Quigg against Carl Frampton.
And it's been a long time in coming.
About 4 years.
Yeah, well, it's taken about 4 years of negotiations, but finally got there. And yeah, how do you think people are seeing this fight at the moment?
Well, I know what you think.
Alright.
But you just sit on the fence, you won't tell anyone on camera. And I know what I think, and I believe everyone is starting to think that Scott Quigg will be knocking Carl Frampton out. You know, people say, oh Eddie, yeah, 3 or 4 years ago we saw your interview and you said, yeah, and I stand by that. I believe 3 or 4 years ago Carl Frampton would have beat Scott Quigg, not now. And anyone that spends time with Scott Quigg, if you leave his company and really feel that he's going to lose this fight, I don't believe you.
We won't ask Adam Smith because he's
a lifelong Barry McGuigan fan, you know. He's, I think everyone knows how close it is, but I think I've met so many people that go, you know what, Quigg's going to knock him out. And I even believe that Frampton fans deep down, and don't necessarily believe, but I think they're very, very concerned about what could happen here. And don't be concerned, just get used to it because it's what will happen. I've never been so confident in a 50-50 fight.
I know there's videos of you doing the loop around from things you said before.
But I stand by those things. Listen, I said Scott Quigg needs Carl Frampton. Let's put the clock back 3 years ago or however long it was, right? Scott Quigg had no promoter, or had no promoter with a TV deal. He was inactive. He had no opportunities, no fights planned, no world title, no TV deal, nothing. Did he need Carl Frampton? Yeah, he did. I was right, for a change. Let's spin it all forward. Scott Quigg has me, he has a world title, he has Sky. He doesn't need Carl Frampton, they need each other now. So, nothing's changed. You can take things that people said 3 years ago and, you know, but think about it at the time. He 100% needed Carl Frampton at that time. He had nothing. And now he's got everything, and now he will go on and he will become the unified champion.
Just to clarify the whole belt situation, currently Scott Quigg is the super champion.
And the winner of the WBA belt must fight Rigondeaux next.
Yep.
And the winner of the IBF belt must fight Shingo Wade next. So it's a complete mess, and I haven't got a clue what's going to happen. But all I care about is February 27th. In fact, we'll probably end up fighting Anito Donaire.
What would happen if Jazza Dickens beats Rigondeaux?
Probably he wouldn't take the mandatory, but it might force Rigondeaux out of the position.
So he's champion in recess?
Yes. He has to fight the winner of QUIGG-FRAMPTON, Rigondeaux.
So,
but again, there's no money in the fight.
if it's a mandatory,
Then we have to fight him, vacate the belt, fight Shingo Wei, vacate the IBF, vacate them both, fight Nonito Donaire for the WBO. I don't know. And at this stage, I don't care less. All that matters is winning on February 27th. Can you imagine the atmosphere in a Manchester arena? It's going to be the best atmosphere seen ever in British boxing.
it's quite a big call.
Can I just say that all these little edit pieces is just for KUGAN coughing? Because you know when you do that, people think you're cutting stuff.
I'm not cutting
We
nothing.
never cut anything from my interviews.
Coughing fits. Now, I thought it was a joke. I saw this story that Gareth Davies had put in the Telegraph via Twitter yesterday about Eddie joins forces with Floyd Mayweather. I genuinely thought it was a joke, like a spoof thing. But it's not actually a spoof thing.
No, it's
it's
not.
actually true.
Yeah.
Can you just explain the...
Yeah, Leonard Ellaby phoned me out a while ago. Well, was it last week or end of the week before? We talked about what we were doing in the UK. Gave each other a little ego massage. He said, I love what you're doing in the UK with Matchroom. I said, I love what you're doing in the UK with TMT in the US, Leonard. And he said, oh, Eddie. And I said, oh, Leonard. And then we started talking business. And he said, look, Floyd wants to come and get his fighters out in the UK. We've seen what you're doing. Would you be interested in co-promoting with Floyd? His fighters against your fighters. And I said, absolutely. You know, get him over.
On one particular show?
A series of shows. But the aim would be, the first show is, let's get 5 or 6 guys matched. We exchange fighter lists. And Leonard said to me, have you got Rocky Fielding? And I said, yes, Rocky Fielding. And he said, let's fight him with Leon Love. And I said, let's do it. Been looking at that fight for a long time. He's got a very good bantamweight, could fight Jamie McDonnell. He's got loads of light middleweights. He's got some light heavyweights. He's got cruiserweight. He's got, you know, we can match all these guys.
What's in it for you?
Profile, fun, good fights, exposure, attention, hype. I like it. I like the partnership. I think the TMT brand is a great brand. Mayweather is a huge name. Let's get him to the UK promoting fights with me on Sky. Fantastic. From there we had a couple of conversations. A 35-second coughing fit that you had to put up with there. You wonder why you can't get a job on Sky. I don't know.
Who says?
Oh, yeah.
I want that, by the way.
No, of course you do.
No, who says
Who
I
doesn't
want
want to be on Sky?
No,
Come on.
Who says I want that, by the way?
Me?
But beneficial to both parties.
Very. It's good fun. You know, it's not, listen, I'm not saying it's a deal that's going to change the face of our business or the sport. It's just good fun. Me and Floyd promoting his team against our team. It's good profile.
Do you think, obviously, we didn't know he'd just done his victory tour up in the UK tour. Do you think them coming over here and sort of going to different cities had anything to do with it?
Absolutely none whatsoever.
Really?
No. I think, you know, listen, I don't know enough about the tour. I didn't hear enough. I said to Leonard, I don't know anything about his tour. Have you even promoted it? You know, this is a big news, him coming to the UK. But I don't think, you know, I think they've seen what we're doing. You've got to understand, people turn on the TV and see our events. Now, they must have seen December 12th. You must just think, wow, you don't get events like that in the States. Every now and again you get a big show, but not the regularity that's being produced over here. So I think everybody, whether it's Al Heyman, whether it's Floyd Mayweather, says, listen, we want a piece of the UK market. It's not that easy, but you know, if they want to work with us on it, yeah, I'd love to. I think it'd be fun.
So
Or a fruit
they're
salad.
just announcing what's on the menu.
So once again, today's options. We have the pastrami sandwich,
Pastrami
a
sandwich,
salmon and
overrated.
potato salad,
Salmon and potato salad, that's grim.
the mixed deli plate,
The mixed
or a
deli
fruit
plate.
salad.
Fruit salad.
To accompany these, we do have a choice of plain
No,
salted or
pastrami,
cheese and onion
it's got to be
crisps,
quality
as
pastrami.
well as cake and fruit.
Cake, yeah.
We'll be back a
That's
little
you
later
sorted.
in the journey with the hot and cold drinks. If you have any questions,
Okay,
please do ask one of us. In the meantime,
I'll talk to
please
you
sit
obviously
back,
the witness that
relax,
you've got a
and enjoy
Josh
your
Warrington
journey.
press
Thank
conference.
you.
Yeah. Oh, mate. Josh Warrington against Amagasa, the kid who boxed Rigonda. Remember he had the old swelling out here?
Knocked him down twice.
Correct. fight of Josh Warrington's career. Hats off for taking that. And after that, we're going to make the Selby fight.
Definitely.
Stuart Hall in a final eliminator against Rodrigo Guerrero, former world champion, to become the mandatory for Lee Haskins. Can't wait to be back in Leeds, April 16th. Tickets go on sale tomorrow via Fight Pass, and on Wednesday on general sale.
What's the situation regarding the WBC? I just saw a few tweets yesterday regarding Callum Smith, George Groves, Mohammedi's.
Oh right, yeah. So the WBC sanctioned a final eliminator between Callum Smith and Hadila Mohammedi. George Groves and Sauerland made an official protest to the WBC to try and stop that fight from happening. It went on and on. They sent a big, like 4 or 5 page document to the WBC. We sent our argument, and last night or this morning we received confirmation that the final eliminator for Callum Smith against Hadila Mohammedi would definitely go ahead, and the winner would become the mandatory for Badou Jack.
Diet Coke, please.
So,
You've got a strong connection with the Sauerlands. How did it get to this?
George Groves obviously complained. I mean, listen, Sauerlands have got to do their job, and George Groves complained. He tried to get the fight stopped, and he couldn't. But we chased. Water, still water. We chased. Thank you. We changed George Groves for a long time, Callum Smith, and that fight was always scoffed at by them. All of a sudden, he's in a position where he needs to fight Callum Smith. It doesn't work like that. So we had a European title fight against number 6 ranked Hadila Mohammedi, and you know, I've got to say as well, look at that, ice and lemon. Never had that before. Normally just have the bottle. And these Penn State cheese pretzels with different gravy. Yeah, so fight goes ahead, mandatory. Callum Smith will fight Badou Jack after he wins. And listen, we'll definitely look at George Groves' defence. Right, mate?
Anything to eat at all?
I was contemplating the deli platter, but I think my friend here just wants some cake.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
You having a, do you want to give it a go, the deli platter?
Deli platter. Yeah, go on then, stick that in the middle.
Do you know what? I will have a bag of them crisps, mate. Them Pipers.
Yeah, he's on a bit of a health buzz at the moment, mate.
Yeah.
He'll just go for the crisps and the cake. Yeah.
I'll leave you one of each. And
Oh, lovely.
Side.
Cheers, mate.
Top man.
That's right, thank you.
Thank you.
That's what you get with Virgin. This is great.
Yeah, it was
great
either that or the
Virgin.
salmon and potato salad.
So that's that situation.
Yeah,
basically.
so we're fighting Hadila Mohammedi, European title, final eliminator to become the mandatory for Badou Jack. April 2nd, huge show. Rocky against Rebress, Cardle against Dodd, etc, etc. We're cooking on gas now. QUIGG-FRAMPTON on February 27th. Eggington Skeet on March the 5th. March 26th, Brook v Bizier. Got a great fight for Luke Campbell announced probably tomorrow. Allen against Towers, British heavyweight eliminator. April 2nd, Smith Mohammedi, Rocky Rebress, Cardle Dodd. April 9th, the heavyweight championship of the world. Joshua against Martin, Pat card. April 16th, Warrington against Amagassa, Hall against Rodrigo. 6 events there. We're flying.
What's your end of April?
Might go to Belfast on April the 30th. Let's see how we get on February 27th in terms of Ryan Burnett and some other guys we'll be looking to put on that show there.
Anything confirmed for May yet?
May the 7th, we're looking at Anthony Croller's first defence. You heard it here first. Manchester Arena.
Ismael Barroso.
Quite possibly, yeah.
What do you mean quite possibly?
Well, yes.
Well, you just you made it sound
yeah,
like
I mean,
there was
look,
just another option.
Yeah, no, there isn't another option. Just yes, Ismael Barroso.
Can I just say one thing?
What?
Behind us is the very well-known Jeff Powell, who's listening intently,
That's all right. I'm sure he watches your content most evenings.
looking for a story. Have you got anything else to add?
No. That was nice. The pepper with the cream cheese. That's it.
Nothing else to add?
No.
No news?
No.
Just give me some potentials who could be on the April 9th card. Just to...
Macklin against Brian Rose.
Yeah.
Jane McDonald defending his world title. Lee Selby against Eric Hunter. James DeGale. George Groves. Martin Murray.
All potentials.
Yeah, not all of them.
Yeah.
But a bit of hummus.
Do you expect the show to sell out in hours?
Hours? It'll sell out in... We've got O2 pre-sale and Fight Pass. Remember, when you do a venue deal, you're looking at about 55% to the venue, 45% to the promoter. Ticket split. So if there's 17,000 tickets, it's 8,500 to the promoter. Take away the fighters' requirements, particularly Joshua. We'll have about 3,000 on Fight Pass. Pre-sale. There's not going to be many go on general sale. And they will sell out in less than 3 minutes. Could have gone to Wembley for this fight. Would have sold out Wembley.
Someone asked me to ask you about Ricky Bones. I just remembered.
Probably be on the April 9th show. But the reason I didn't mention his name, I have a big fight I'm working on. And we may go back to Scotland with it.
Really?
I get so much stick when you come back to Scotland. If I can pull this fight off, then we'll do it in Scotland. If not, more than likely on April 9th.
Okay. Well, Eddie Hearn, thanks for talking to IFL TV, and we shall catch up with you on Wednesday. Hopefully that'll be a little bit better then. Might be coughing all over the shop.
What's happening Wednesday? Leeds pressure. Yeah, you should try some Benadryl. Benadin. The Hamlets.
Benalin, isn't it?
Benalin, yeah.
Benadryl, Benadin, Benalin.
Those Hamlet cigars probably
Sounds like
not
one
the
of
best.
them opponents Eddie brings over for like the 4-rounders.
Oh, banter.
Are you joking? Pulling out the bag recently.
And by the way, Benalin is not a South American name.
Okay, fair enough. What do you think of Adam Smith then, anyway?
I think he's a great commentator.
Yeah?
I think he's a great presenter. I think he's a great strategist. I think he's a great partner.
Any flaws?
Amazing man. Great father. Husband. Pleasure to deal with. And actually, perhaps the unsung hero of British boxing. Because I know that you just getting nervous over there. Because although I know I'm a fan's favourite, and you know I'm really popular amongst boxing fans for changing the face of the sport, I think you do have to give Adam Smith a lot of credit as well.
Fair enough. Alright.
You're only as good as your TV network, and I got the best.
Who was you watching the Super Bowl with?
Tom Hall, Alphabet One,
Oh.
and Sky with Sky as well. Where are you trying to go with this?
No, I just wondered if you had any other agendas out there.
Some meetings, yeah. Everybody, it's the first time I've been to the Super Bowl. Unbelievable. First time I've ever watched an American football game. I found myself after 20 minutes going, Cam Newton's just getting pressurised badly here by the Broncos. What an event.
Yeah. Alright, thanks for talking to us, and we'll speak to you on Wednesday.
Thank you.